Hi, this video is going to be used to talk about your case study, which is the most major component of this course. Hopefully by now you have found a student in which to do the case study with. Your student should be kindergarten through 2nd grade, no exceptions. If you are a middle childhood major, you should have already emailed me the first week of class and let me know that. And we will discuss via email the things that we're going to be doing for you a little bit differently. But this is a general video as well as all the documents that are up on Carmen. So please take the time to read all the documents and content under case study. They are going to explain much more in detail what needs to be done. This is just an overview because I know overviews can help people to give you an idea of what to expect. So your case study is basically you are going to be doing assessment to find out the reading and spelling development of your child. And you're going to be doing this on your own time, which is why you need to find your own kid. And I'm going to be teaching you all of the assessments. So you are going to learn every single assessment, and once you've learned it, you can go and do this assessment on your child. So you're going to be doing this assessment and you're going to be writing papers, all right? The case study is going to be broken down into 3 parts, if you've noticed, that is due at 3 separate times near the end of the semester. When you turn in part 1 of the case study, what you are turning in is all the assessment documents that you have used with your student. For instance, I'm putting this is the attitude survey, so this is the actual score sheet. So you will turn in the filled out score sheet because you should have done this. You fill it out, all right? You also will turn in what the student did. So there's an example of what the student did. So part 1 of the case study, you always turn in the completed assessment document. That's all you have to do for part 1. So that's just the attitude survey. You're going to be turning in the spelling inventory as well. You have to do that with your student. You're going to be learning the primary, upper level, and elementary. Most of you will probably do elementary spelling inventory. So depending on which spelling inventory you do, you're going to be turning that assessment document in for part 1 of your case study. So here's the document. You're going to turn this in, and here is the completed page. So make sure it's completely filled out, and you're going to turn that in. You will be filling this out as you do the assessment. So this will not be an extra thing. You have to fill this stuff out when you do the assessment. Just make sure you save all your materials to turn in to me. And then this is an example of the student work that you will also be doing when you do the assessment, and you'll be turning this into me as well. All right. You'll also be doing the observation survey, which I will be teaching you. There are several components of the observation survey. You will choose one of those tests to do with your child. So once again, you're going to do that assessment with your child, which I will be teaching you, and you're going to keep those documents and you're going to turn those in for part 1. So here's an example of the word reading, a completed assessment document. Here's an example of the hearing and recording sounds and words document, the student work, and then the evaluator, which is you, what they had to do. All right. I want to make sure I see everything filled out for part 1. All right. And here's the summary sheet. I want to see that it's filled out. Right. You will also be taught the running record. You actually should already know how to do the running record. You should have been taught that in 5468, and that is a prerequisite for this class. But once you're going to have to do another running record for this case study. So you're going to be turning in that completed assessment document. Remember, for the running record, you must find instructional level. No ifs, ands, or buts. So if I see that you've turned in an independent level or frustrational, you're going to lose points. So make sure you've done the instructional. You might have to do more than one test to find instructional level. That's reality. That's what happens when you're in the classroom. You sometimes have to do several tests to find the student's real reading level. So here's in a document, this person decided to type theirs up. You do not have to do this. She went above and beyond. So everything is filled out. All right. So yeah, here's another one. This is independent level, so this person had to go back and find instructional. All right. You also have to do the writing sample. So I don't have an example, but make sure you turn in your students' writing, the prompt, and the rubric that is completed. All right. Once again, all of that is on Carmen. And then a phonemic awareness test. You have 3 options. You're going to pick one. All right. A few of them have actual assessment documents. The others, you have to create your own. For instance, this is the names test. The student typed out the names themselves and they gave this to the student, and they wrote out what the student actually said and scored it. And then this is the CATS deletion test. This is sort of the assessment document. She scored it, and she put the score on the bottom. So those are the things that you're going to be doing with your child throughout the semester and that you have to turn in for part 1 of the case study. Basically, part 2 of the case study is taking this information that you learned, the data, and analyzing it and telling me what is going on. Right? Once again, more information is on Carmen under content. Part 3 of the case study is implications for teaching. So, for example, if you notice your child on the hearing and recording sounds and words got 33 out of 37, you're going to find out the different components. What did he miss? Right? I'm noticing this kid has a lot of trouble with blends. So I might, for an implication for teaching, want to work with this kid on blends in the classroom. And you're going to give me a very specific example of how you are going to do that. Right? And you're going to be doing that for all the different components of the case study. So for the observation survey, if you notice your child has trouble with long vowel, what are your implications for teaching, right? Part 3 of the case study is the most important, has the most points, and should be thought about the most, because I really want you to think about, okay, I have this information, now what do I do with it, all right? These assessments don't mean anything if you don't do anything in your instruction to help the child. So as if you were a real teacher and this was actually a student in your class, you get this data. How can I help this kid get better? Or if your kid already did great, what can I do to challenge that student? Right? That's what that part 3 of the case study is. Once again, for more information, make sure you read all of the documents. I will be sending out emails, and I will always be available to help you out. So hopefully this overview gives you an idea of what you need to do. All right, thanks.